and just go through them one at a time and talk about what they're for, what they do. So up at the very top is your batch entry, your batch entry menu, and we start out with the invoicing for projects and for service tickets. You obviously have to have the right to be able to do invoices in order for this to go anywhere. You also, it'd be based on your manager settings as well. So I'm going to go here to customer invoicing. And you'll see it looks just like your invoicing window with the addition of a drop-down here. And this is all of your backlog orders that are booked but not yet fully invoiced. Okay, so just like the search toolbar down at the bottom when you pull that up, it's the same kind of search. So if you know a customer's PO number or you know a customer's name, anything like that, you can type any part of that and it'll pull up the order. So I'm just going to flip to one of these, and the first time it takes a little longer than the second time, but if you notice, it does all your mapping, okay, and it'll pull up the amount at 100% of the balance, and you'll be filling out your billing type and your billing date. So once you fill out your billing date, it will also go and look up the default terms and figure out what the due date should be. So if I just flip through these, I can use my arrow key to flip through. If I just want to flip through them, you'll see the amounts changing here and the bottom changing. Okay? So it's going to do all that for you just by either, like I said, putting in a project number. I think salesperson is in here, the bill to, the end user, and you're just going to fill this out. Let's go ahead and pull one up that's got already mapped. Okay, so this one here, I'm just going to fill out my billing type, and I'm going to fill out my billing date, and I'm going to go ahead and when I do save invoice and close, it's going to save this invoice and close this window. If I do save and new, it's going to save this invoice and start me in a new mode. And save and print will also do save and new. So if I do save and print here, okay, it's going to ask me if I want to make this the final invoice date on the order. I'm going to say yes. Okay, and it's going to print, and then I'm going to be back in mode to be able to choose another one here. Okay, so then I can just go choose another one, and I'm starting brand new with that. Okay, so pretty basic. If you've got a stack of invoices, if you're going off of your backlog or your actions to perform, what I would suggest doing is pulling up your actions to perform and breaking that window off. Everybody knows that this little minus sign button that's on every pop-out window, okay, we'll pop it out so you can have it up and this up at the same time, and go through and pop in the project number, and it'll pull up that that invoice or that order that's ready for invoicing. Okay, so that's the batch customer invoicing window. If I go here to the service tickets, this is going to show me all of my unbilled service tickets. Okay, so if I go down here, it's going to show me all of those. Again, I can type in anything about the end user or the backlog or the bill to, the customer PO if there is one, or the service ticket number. Okay, so if I pull one of these up, it's going to do the exact same thing. If it's if it's newer, it's going to have the mapping already done down the bottom. Okay, so it's going to have my amount, my tax, everything there. I'm going to fill out my billing type and my billing date. Okay, and then I can do save and new, save and print, or save and close when I'm totally done. Okay, it works exactly the same way. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll do save and print. Okay, and you'll see very quickly it pulled up the invoice in the back and put me in new mode, ready to do a new invoice. Okay, and the next thing is the vendor bills for projects. So this is going to show you all of your purchase orders on the POs on active orders. This means that you haven't completed the order yet. So you all know that on the order entry, there's a completed checkbox and a completed on date. So that's what takes it out of this list here. So if I look here, I've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Okay, what this is going to do is, if you have an acknowledged cost, it's going to use that as your amount. Okay, so the two of these added together are $38,03.92. So it's assuming that when you're doing a payable for this, that's going to be doing that full amount of the amount here. Okay, you can always change the amount, but it's going to use that amount here. If you don't have an acknowledged cost, it's going to use the estimated amount. You see how this has no acknowledged cost, but the estimated total is $1,125. So that's what it's using for the amount there. Okay. If you have, you'll see that this, if you have the company, the vendor, mapped out to a WIP and an AP account, a default WIP account and a default AP account, it's going to determine whether it should be WIP or COGS, depending on whether the job is fully invoiced or not. Okay, and it's going to pull that up as well based on the vendor that it is. Also, the default remit to will come in here. Okay, if there's no acknowledgments, then they'll show up here. If you have acknowledgments, they'll all show up here, the ones that have not been applied yet. Again, just like regular, you're going to pull up you're going to put your invoice number in, your invoice date, and you're going to map your accounts, and then they'll be ready to send over as a payable. Okay. Next thing is the vendor bills for service tickets. Works exactly the same way as the other one. It's going to have all of your It's going to have all your purchase orders on all active service tickets. So until you complete those service tickets, they're going to show up in here. Okay? So I go there, it's going to do the same thing. If there's an acknowledged cost, it's going to put that in. If there's an estimated total, it's going to put that in as the amount. Any acknowledgments on those service ticket purchase orders will be there. And again, the vendor will change to the default remit to, and if there's an account set up, a default AP account and or a WIP, well, actually the default AP account is also going to show up for this, because there is not really a WIP for service tickets. Okay. Other than that, works exactly the same as putting them in manually. If you want, you can have your open service ticket invoices or open service tickets from here, this list open, and go from there and just start billing stuff by popping in the number. Okay. And the next thing, this is we'll do the vendor bills for inventory when we do the inventory training. I believe it's sometime next week. Vendor bills general. One of the things that we've never done is we've never done bills from vendors that didn't have to do with a project. Well, when you're sitting there with a stack of bills and you have to flip back and forth between eManage and QuickBooks, we don't want you to do that. So basically what we figure is you can have your vendor bills for projects and your vendor bills general here open at the same time. You're going through your stack of bills on your desk, and you literally, things that don't have a project or service ticket associated with them, you're going to just type in the vendor. So if I put in a vendor here, it's going to be ready for me to put in a bill that has nothing to do with a project or a service ticket. Okay, so I'll choose my account here. If you've set up a default AP account, that will show up automatically, and you'll map it out. And then that actually goes, I'm going to actually do this one because I want it to go there. You'll have to enable your accounts that are not cost of goods sold inside of the QuickBooks integration. Just say use an eManage and a payable account, okay? Because that's the only way that those accounts get in here. I'm going to go ahead and put an invoice number in here and an invoice date and a due date, and I'm going to put in $50. Okay, if you have a memo, that's the only difference between this and the regular one is between this and the projects and service tickets is the service ticket and project ones will automatically build a memo field for you. This has a memo field set here. Okay, so if you want something in there, you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And I can do save and new or save and close. Save and new will put me in new mode so I can enter another bill for a different vendor or the same vendor, different bill. Okay. And I'm just going to open up the QuickBooks integration here and show you guys where that stuff is now. So you guys know there's a QuickBooks menu now. We move things around to better organize so that menu wouldn't be so long. And I'm going to go here. Now you'll see there's two actual new things on the main toolbar, and that is other payables and inventory payables. Okay, since inventory payables don't fall under project or service ticket or service agreements, they're separate. Okay, so, and same with other payables. So if I go here to other payables, I'm going to see this one that I just put in, and it's mapped out just the way a regular payable would be. Okay, the only difference is, like I said, it's not going to be assigned to a job number. It's just going to send over as a bill. Okay, so kind of like what you would do anyway in QuickBooks. And let's go ahead and send that over. Okay, so then if I go back here, I look at my bills, there's that bill all mapped out, just no customer and job number. Okay, so go back here. And so that's the vendor bills general. We've had these for a while, so I'm not going to go through those. Project acknowledgments. So in here, this works just like the acknowledgement screen does. Okay, except, oops, should say project here. It's going to have all of your purchase orders that have not been fully acknowledged. So that list is actually the same. The list that's in there is going to be the same list as is in your today on POs not fully acknowledged. So if it's in this list, it's going to be in this list. So when you switch to a PO, okay, it's going to pull up what items are on there. You're going to put in the acknowledgement number, acknowledge ship date, and you're going to do your either acknowledge selected items, acknowledge all and save, or save. It's going to keep this window. There isn't a save and close because it's just going to keep you in this the whole time until you close this window. So if you flip through, though, you're going to see now this one has more items on it. So it's only going to pull, just like regular, just like clicking on the Add Acknowledgement button, it's going to only pull the items that have a balance, that have not been acknowledged yet. Really simple. Wow, that didn't even take 15 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody?
Hey, look, when you said
Yep.
the batch entry for the customer invoicing, you would use projects. So the ones that show up in this listing, are those ones that have are showing as complete, or are those just ones that need to be invoiced?
These are the exact things that are on your backlog.
So it's what's on the backlog. But you know how we use the installed not invoiced report?
Install not yet invoiced report.
Yeah. So this
okay.
is the backlog. This ties to the backlog report and not the installed not yet invoiced report.
This
correct?
is your current backlog that's on your today screen.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, if it's been booked and not fully invoiced, it's going to show up in here. If there's any balance at all on the invoice,
okay,
or on the order that hasn't been invoiced, it's going to show up in this list.
It doesn't tie to your installation calendar.
No, but you could pull that list up and just enter the project numbers in here. You see what I mean? If you pull up that report and just pop numbers in, it's gonna have those. Those are already going to be in here no matter what, right? Because they haven't been 100% invoiced yet.
Right.
So all you're going to do is pop in the project number. So if you say 874, right, you're going to do that, and it's going to filter your list, and you're going to grab the one that you want.
Okay.
And then do that. Okay. And again, save and print will both do new. Save and print will bring it up in the background for you to send off via email or print it out.
Okay.
Any other questions?
On the batch acknowledgments, is there a way to save the document to that project as you're going through it?
And is that on the window? It might be on the window, is it? Let me just check that out. No. You mean the document itself?
Correct.
No, but maybe I'll do that. I mean, what I would do, frankly, is I would do save those documents, save to a record. Because
then you have to open up the project, right?
No, you guys know that when you save a document to a record, you can choose project and put in the project number, right? You don't have to have the window. You don't have to have the tab open.
Okay.
Right? You can literally say this is a project document and put in the project number and then just save it that way. You don't actually have to open up the window. It's easier that way if you do that, but it doesn't have to be done that way.
I think it takes just a little bit longer. It's a lot faster if you have the project open.
It is. I agree. So, but anyway, I'll think about whether you can do that. but all that would do is open up a place where you can browse to it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that is not any faster, I don't think. So one other thing I want to show you guys while I'm on here, and since I finished really fast, we have a new report, and I think you all are going to like it. If you guys use the order complete and completed on dates, this will be really useful for you. Okay, it's a profit report. And this is also, by the way, the report that we're going to use on December 2nd when we do the alternative Telerik report training. We're actually going to make a different version of this report, and that's with dollar amounts. But if you look here, I'm going to do actually I'm going to do 1/1/2007 because this is our test database anyway, so we don't have a lot in there. I'm going to run the report. Okay, and this actually has. Okay, it's broken out by corporate division, so if you only have one division, it's obviously going to only have that. Then by salesperson. Okay, it has the job number, the project/order name, so it'll be the project name first and the order name second, the booking credit, the order sale price. It's then going to have the total cost, and then instead of showing the dollar amount for each of the costs there, we put in the percentage of the total cost that it is. So you'll actually be able to see how much of your cost is product or subcontractor, how much of your cost is, in percentage, is your labor and your journal costs. Okay, and then we have profit over here, all dollar amounts, and then we have your gross profit margin over here. Now, when you get to the totals, it doesn't average it out. It's not an average. It takes your values here, your profit and your sale price, and gives you your GP for the total for the salesperson, and then at the bottom for your grand total for your totals.
So it's actually calculating the correct total.
That's
Wow,
right.
thank you. Hey, it's kind of what I want. Now I get to look at it and see if it's what I want.
Well, then, like I said, what we're going to do is we're going to do an alternative. This is the report we're going to do an alternative for, because
Okay.
actually in this report we have all the dollar amounts. We just chose to show it with the percentages.
Okay, so like the labor is pulling, so if I were to tie this, I could look at the final profit for these jobs, and this should be like what's pulling on the final profit screens?
For individual orders. This is not by project, this is by order.
Okay, so if multiple orders within a project.
Then you'd have, it depends on whether they're completed in your date range. You understand?
Okay, so I'm looking at the big ones on me, like MLK. Okay, I see what you're saying. Is there a way to consolidate the orders so that it rolls into one project?
You'd have to do your date. You'd have to do your date range where they all coincide, and or they're all within that date range.
Okay, I might have to think about that one.
So, I mean, the profit report per order is actually important to do, because then your commissions and stuff like that. Actually, all the commission amounts and stuff like that are also fields that are available, and that's why we're going to do the alternative, because I want to show you how to be able to group differently, how to be able to put commission stuff together here.
Okay.
And yes, actually, you could do that if you wanted to in the alternative, and you know, maybe we'll do that during the training, because if you group it by the project, okay, then it would have summary values as opposed to individual order values. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And the reason the issue, Philip, for us is that if we do a job and like it's a big job, and then we go back and we have a punch list that we're working on, we won't necessarily bill. It ends up being a separate order within the job.
Right.
So the labor cost associated with that punch list or the product cost associated with that punch list goes to the total profitability of the job, but it's a separate order within the job. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to
and
all
actually,
of
if you watch on our YouTube channel,
yeah.
we have a video about punch lists that tells how to actually deal with that.
Okay.
It's actually what you do is you take your purchase orders and assign them to the order that has value to it, right? Because that's what you want. It's actually, that should come out of the profit of your order that has a sale price to it.
Exactly.
When your punch list doesn't, so
we don't want to bill the customer for it.
Right. But changing the purchase orders order, changing the customer order that the purchase order is assigned to, will assign the cost to a one that has value. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
As opposed to really being negative profit on an order that doesn't have any sale right? Because that would be an issue. So
Right.
anyway, we have a video right on our YouTube page. If you
Okay.
want, I can email you that link.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And then I'll play with this report too, but this is great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So just remember, you guys, that you have to fill out the completed on, and you can make that an editable field in just about any of these grids. So where you have an order. So there's order complete and completed on are fields inside of these grids here. Okay, so also if you're interested, since we're so far ahead, there's also just going to pull this over here in case somebody's got their GoToMeeting out. We added some new fields in here that I think will help you guys. There's first install date, last install date on the order. Okay. There's also inventory not yet received and PO items not yet received. And those columns show up in here in your order analysis, and they also show up in your calendar. So if you look at your implementation calendar at your booked orders needing scheduling, you're going to see inventory not yet received, PO items not yet received. Also, you're going to see it on your scheduled items for selected days. So we really kind of made this so that you could click on a day or a week, say next week, and say, oh, did I get all this stuff in? Okay, that's also going to be on this here. So it's going to show you any inventory items. So if you're using the inventory, it's going to show you those and anything that you did just in time. And it's only going to be those. This is only going to be PO items not yet received that are not from vendors that are marked as internal only. Okay, so if I go here to Marketplace Software, here, okay, there's that checkbox that says POs created are internal cost only. So it's not going to include anything that's on those purchase orders as something that you haven't received yet. Okay, so anything that you don't want to be included in that, you're going to check this off. This also keeps it out of your unbilled cost. Okay, so the vendors with this checked off don't go into your unbilled cost. They also don't count as not yet received. Any questions about any of that? Anybody?
The profit report,
Yep.
it runs into a PDF. Can you export it into Excel, or can you modify it so it breaks at the sales people?
Yes, that's what we're going to do during training on the 2nd.
Okay.
So that's next week, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but yes, if you click on this button, all of our new reports, you can export to anything. And actually, they work. This export works pretty well for Word and Excel. So, yeah. But if you want to group it differently, but not by salesperson, that's exactly what we're going to go through. We're going to group it by a whole bunch of different things, and we're going to make a bunch of alternatives off of this one report so that you guys can see, how do I do some of that stuff? How do I replace some of these columns and keep totals different and all the different groupings? So.
Hey, Philip, can you show me how you did that on the profit report again to show the export function? Because I don't think it's not showing up on mine.
Yeah, it's right here. It's the little yellow folder with the green arrow pointing out.
Okay.
So if I export this to Word, let me just do it real quick. Oh, man. I didn't think I have a new enough word. DOCX is not valid for. Let me try the regular word.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Did you get it?
I got it. I was looking for the little, the little radio button at the bottom, but I see where you got it. I see where it is now.
Okay. Didn't work for me. But I'm going to see why it didn't work. Yeah, I'm not getting either of them. Did that work for you?
I don't know. I'm trying it right now.
I might actually need to update the exporter. You trying it?
If you use rich text, it'll export in Word.
Yeah, but I want those. I want those to work. Darn it. So, yeah, I'm going to look at this as soon as we get off the phone and make sure that actually does work.
Great.
Okay.
But
like I said, we actually have a lot more than this available in the report, which is why it's real important that you guys see how the alternatives work, because we included a lot more than this. There's just only so much room. What's important to someone might be not important to somebody else. So we just did what we thought would be appropriate, and in preparation for doing the training on the custom report. So it's going to be a cool training, so if you guys definitely want to show up for that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Shane, for that, by the way. Anything? Anybody? Just in case you guys don't know, I don't know if we ever did go through this, customer payments. Customer payments is a place where you can apply discounts, like early pay discounts. Okay, so this is like you go to your customer. Okay, and let's see. Customer, press enter to load. It'll pull up all the invoices you have for that customer. Okay, and you can apply discounts. You can check these off. Okay, and you see that my amounts are going here. Okay, so then you can do your amount here, 26,698.08, and you'll see that my remaining is 0. So if I'm checking off invoices as they're paying, and I put in the amount of the payment, this should balance out to 0. Okay. So if they give me a check for, $5 less, I can always put a discount amount into here. You do have to have a discount account that you're going to use from QuickBooks, okay, when you do that. So I'm actually not sure that we ever went through this. So you'll want to have some sort of account that is a discount account that's going to push over to QuickBooks if you use a discount amount. Okay, so you can either type in a discount percent or discount dollars. You can also highlight multiples and put your discount in here and apply it. And what that's going to do is it's going to change the amount that they owe because you're giving them an early pay discount or whatever kind of discount you're doing. Okay. Any questions about that? Cool. All right, I'm going to hang out here for a minute, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer. And if not, then I will end the meeting. I did record this, so I'll be popping it up there for you guys to download and check out anytime you need to. And that was Paula, right? That you want the link to that punch list?
Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you.
So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and chime in.
Thanks, Philip.
All right, no, thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
All right, awesome.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Anybody?
I'm just noticing, I'm very interested in the profit report, Philip.
Uh-huh.
And I'm noticing it may not be pulling all of the jobs. So
Remember, it's by completed on and whether it's complete.
okay.
Right? So you might want to make sure. What you might want to do is pull an order. Do an order analysis.
Yeah.
Do an order analysis, and you can make the completed on and the complete an editable field in there.
Okay.
The table name is project order entry. Okay, and if you make those editable inside of that, then you can modify that right on the order analysis grid. It should be easier to do it from there.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to be the same as the order invoice date, then you can put those two fields together, right, or next to each other, and then just fill that out.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can do it. The only way we can do it is to make sure somebody actually said this order is complete, and then that's the only way it makes sense to look at the profit.
Yeah, and guess what? We haven't done that to a lot of our jobs.
So
well,
like
that's why. When you said that, I'm like, yeah, I know what it is then.
I would pull up, like I said, I would do an order analysis of everything.
Okay.
And then you can do, you can sort or filter by that with either things that aren't completed, but do have an order invoice date, right?
Yeah.
So then you should be able to do that pretty easily.
Do a query and complete them. Okay, cool.
And if you need help, just call in and we'll help you build that query.
Okay, thanks, Philip. This is right on the right track. Thank you very much.
Awesome, no problem.
Okay, bye.
Bye. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and stop the recording, and I will put this up there for you guys if you need it. Thank you for attending.